The war in Afghanistan has become a major headache for Britain and the United States. Some experts say it's a war we just can't win. Well, what can we learn from previous conflicts in that part of the world? Here are the views of history lecturer Dr. Rob Johnson.
There have been at least 3 major conflicts which involved Britain in Afghanistan before, and each of them actually, funnily enough, involved having allies in the sense of the shape of Pakistan before it was known as Pakistan. What's particularly important is the importance of intelligence and the importance of winning over the hearts and minds of the local population. And all the military commanders on the ground at the moment are very conscious both of the history and of the importance of those 2 elements. What I've tried to do in a book that I've written, Spying for Empire, is trace the sort of long historical route of this particular idea. And what I looked at in particular were the ways that the British had won over the hearts and minds of certain either military or engineering-like personnel, recruited them into an embryonic intelligence service, and then sent them out across the mountains of the Hindu Kush and the Himalaya to gather information from the local Afghan population or the people of Central Asia.
Afghanistan is a very inhospitable country. Successive armies have found it very difficult to fight there.
You're right. I mean, first of all, I know from my own experience, it's a hard country. I mean, it is gruelling, kind of move across country, particularly on foot. The common belief is that in each of the conflicts that Britain was engaged in, it was impossible to win against Afghanistan. Now, in fact, the situation is different to that historically. The military operations all went Britain's way. They actually found it relatively easy to overthrow the Afghan military forces. Of course, we all know what they found much more difficult to do was maintain an occupation. The Afghans, although they have a very rudimentary sense of nationhood, and in the 19th century it's hard to speak of Afghan nationhood, still had a very strong sense that there were foreigners, invaders, aliens, who could perhaps threaten to overthrow their religion, take away their women, threaten to occupy the land permanently. And they feel very strongly about that. And there's this hard core of opinion that wishes to overthrow that idea.
So what went right for the British in previous campaigns that's not gone right this time?
What the British tried to do, of course, was to build up trust in the local people, to establish an idea in their mind that the British were not there to stay. They were merely trying to establish some sort of cordon sanitaire against Russian influence in those days, and nowadays, of course, it would be against the influence of extremist jihadists. But they need to convey that idea now.
Some observers are very pessimistic about the situation in Afghanistan. Are you as well?
I'm pessimistic on some fronts, in that I foresee that there's going to be a lot more violence and a long drawn-out campaign before we see any glimmer of success, or what we might measure as success. And there's arguments, of course, about what that might be itself. What also makes me pessimistic is how often in any insurgency-style conflict, how easy it is to slip into a much more bitter and antagonised conflict. What I'm optimistic about, again from the historical record, is that Britain has a long track record of counterinsurgency operations that work quite well. It's time, they need men on the ground to make it happen, and they need the money.